Hi, True Avatars, and welcome to this bonus episode of your Queer Video Game Podcast. This is episode 55.5, and I am your host, Zoe Wild. I am a transgender and bisexual woman, and my pronouns are she, her. This week, with this bonus episode, I am joined by Ekamy, whose pronouns are she, her, Cleo, whose pronouns are it and she, her, and Lloyd, whose pronouns are he, him. And that's about all the intro the three of you get. How are you all doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good.
I'm okay.
Everyone else was good, Cleo. What's wrong?
Listen, we don't gotta get into it right now. It's been a week.
I hear that.
Yeah. Me too. I'm running on fumes. Like, I'm perpetually now just like, I'm literally perpetually a zombie at this point.
Well, I mean, you
People
were
telling me,
at the midnight launch of the new Pokemon game, yeah?
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Everyone there, I was talking to you about this before we started recording, but the Nintendo rep there was, like, interviewing people, like, just, like, getting responses, like, surveying people, basically, asking, like, why do you come to the midnight launch? And every single person there was like, well, it's the only time we can come to pick up the game is, like, after, like, 9 p.m. And I was like, Nintendo, take a hint, make these launches at 9 p.m. instead of midnight. Who cares if the game is 3 hours early? None of us are playing it anyway. We're going to bed after.
Exactly.
Everyone with adult money buying these games has adult bedtimes.
Yeah. It's like, I need to be in bed by 10 usually. Like, I'm a tired person.
I have to be up at 5. I should be asleep by now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's get into this then. Okay. We're going to be talking about the Steam Next Fest demos this week, True Avatars. And so basically the four of us played each 2 demos. So a total of 8 demos from the October 2025, if I can learn to speak, Steam Next Fest. So like I think every 4 months they do a Steam Next Fest. So February, June, and October. So this should be the last one of the year. This will also probably be the last bonus episode of the year. Cause I don't think there's anything else that's unless there's something surprising that comes up. But anyway, we went through the list of like 60 or so demos. And we had to pick 8. Unfortunately, we couldn't talk about all of them or even have time to play all of them. But we're going to get into that just after these brief messages. As I always ask from you, True Avatars, I do have a few favors. If you like this podcast, please leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. Spotify has ratings and comments, while Apple has reviews. Engagement like comments, ratings, and reviews helps to grow the podcast. And a growing podcast means a happy podcast host who is forever happy and fulfilled that you enjoy listening to her ramblings, which creates an infinite feedback loop of more podcasts and more everything, basically. And if you're watching the video version on YouTube, please like this episode, leave a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, so you're the first to know when a brand new video drops. Please follow True Avatars, a queer video game podcast, on social media. There are accounts on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Facebook, and TikTok at True Avatars, and you can also find the podcast on the official website, trueavatarspodcast.com, no spaces. And remember, this is a weekly queer video game podcast. There's a new episode every Monday morning. Canada time. So check in every week. I aim to bring you news, interviews, and up-to-date discussions that are relevant to queer gamers, so you have a safe space to check in on the world of gaming from a 2S LGBTQIA+ lens. Alright, let's talk demos. We said, Cleo, you're gonna go first?
Great. Do you want to talk about the one I liked or the one I disliked so much it almost made me physically ill?
Let's talk about the one you liked first.
Yeah, I really liked the rhythm game I played, which I forgot to write down the name of. Hang on.
Steel Century Groove?
Steel Century Groove. I really enjoyed it. I played the entire demo. I got to the last, I suppose the last opponent. I didn't finish it because I was exhausted and sleepy. But I enjoyed it. It feels like a good... I want to go back and through it and try one of the different mechs, or Tenzerks as they're called, because they each have different abilities. I picked the one that you fill up like a solo bar, and every time you do it... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, before you explain that, like, what's the gameplay loop like? Like, for people, assume that the person listening to this, not the person, there's multiple people that listen, but assume listeners and the audience has never heard of this game in their life before. What's like the elevator pitch?
I jumped into it without even thinking. The elevator pitch is you are a young... It starts off like a Pokemon game.
Okay.
You are...
Sold.
Yeah, pretty much. Your mom gives you a birthday gift of a mech that is run down.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. And you're thrust into the
I wish
world.
my mom gave me a mech for my birthday.
Right? Isn't it great? You pilot that mech in dance battles. But the mech you get is run down and falling apart. The first time you summon it, it falls over and breaks the fence, and it's it's very, very silly. But from there, it becomes it is a lot like Pokemon because every time you travel between, like, the routes between cities, you meet eyes with another mech pilot, you have to fight. You have to have a dance battle. It is like you are legally obligated to dance battle with me. That's the end of it.
Love it.
It's on site. Got it.
Pretty much. It is really fun. The dance battles are short. I haven't really had one that lasted for more than 2 minutes. It is as simple as the trail is following along on a line. You're hitting the button in time as, like, your pip crosses over, like, the numbered pips on the line. The abilities play into that. The mech I picked, like I said, was a solo bar. You filled it up with one of the abilities, and you had another button that you tapped during that solo, which got you more towards your, like, I think it's called affinity, which is like the end goal of, like, you fill your bar before your opponent, you win, hooray.
Oh, cool.
There was one that was lightning based. I don't actually remember that ability. Then the one they deemed hard was you installed AI into the battle, and it boosted you up, so over time you got stronger.
Okay.
And there were chips you pick up as you explore that augment your abilities. The ultimate, which is like a big nuke that damages your opponent's affinity bar. It could be like you can see their most important move, and when that you have to time it with that, and you can deal more damage to them. Or as simple as getting, like, more affinity per hit. It is an interesting game. The world is interesting. It is very much LGBTQ in that the person who gives you your first working mech as, like, a rental is definitely in a playful relationship with a mailman.
Nice.
Yep. Like, you're given a package, and so, like, go to one town over and get them to mail it to me. And it's very much just like, oh, wait, no, what? It's being sent back to him? Hold on a minute. Well, it's delivered. Let's go to this museum and beat this gym leader. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. I will probably play the full thing. Probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna basically immediately wishlist that. That sounds really fun.
Yeah. There's some character customization at the very beginning. I don't know if there's going to be more later on in terms of outfits, but, like, you can at least pick, like, the colors of your clothes and so on. Pronouns, names, you can change them at any time. It's good. I'm liking it.
Queer dance battle Pokemon. Okay, this sounds great. I was watching the clips, and, like, you were talking about, how the line kind of, like, and obviously audio listeners aren't going to be able to see this, but, like, it's just, like, a line, and as you hit the number, like, that's really hard to describe. But, like, if anyone's interested, go check out the Steam page. One of the first clips you'll see there is how it works, and it looks really cool. And also, the synchronized dancing just looks really fun. Like, it looks like kind of like Wicked or something.
The property
like
damage.
A musical?
There's a clip, like, in the museum. The property damage must be astronomical in terms of repairs.
Yeah.
The best way now I think to describe it would be Osu, but without the mouse movement. Like, you're just clicking to the beat.
Oh, okay, yeah. Nice.
Cool.
It's fun.
All right, let's move on to, because I think we've hit about 5. We're gonna do about 5 minutes per game or so. So, Amy, do you want to go next?
Sure, absolutely. The game that I'm going to talk about now, for me, is called Laugh Track. Demo obviously available for Next Fest. Laugh Track comes from the developer of Arcade Spirits and Penny Larceny, which I've brought up a couple of times on the podcast before.
They followed me back on Twitter, not on Twitter, on Blue Sky. They followed True Avatars. I was so happy.
That's so cool. No, they're super cool. They actually popped into my stream when I was playing the demo. It was really cool. Yeah, they're so nice. Oh my god. So Laugh Track is, for anyone who doesn't know, I think probably a good general descriptor is you are an otherworldly being. You can also pick your pronouns at the start and kind of set that up for yourself. But you are among other godlike beings who are putting on a television show, and they're trying to appeal to the audience. We don't know who the audience is, but it's just an audience. And they're kind of, it seems like they're kind of playing not to be punny, playing God with like human lives in this TV show, because they're all kind of, the characters are like trapped in this TV show, but they think it's their own reality. So you're kind of making choices to see how characters, not necessarily react, but like how the story goes. And there's different prompts to come up that'll say like, oh, if you pick this response, the critics, the audience will really like it. But if you pick this response, they might hate it. Like maybe you'll lose your rating. And there's no like indicator at the start to be like, you should get amazing ratings. But obviously you're thinking like, I guess I want to get good ratings. But of course there's that little like moral kind of like, I don't know, like sometimes there's decisions where you're like, oh, I don't really want to do that, but like it would be good for ratings. So there's that kind of interesting conflict. And it's very, it's very, it's a comedy, a little bit like elements of like horror because like they're trapped in the TV show. But it's really funny and it's very relevant. There's a lot of really like solid and cool topics that are talked about. The queerness of it comes into how the characters identify, which is revealed a little bit into the demo. But more or less the main character, the first character you get introduced to, is a polyamorous bisexual. There's also a lesbian character as well as an ace character who's non-binary, which is super cool. So
ace representation.
Yeah,
it's so rare. We like to see it.
And they're Canadian. Yeah, so and a lot of fun. It was really, really cool. I've also been like hinted at by the developer who came in to say that it's kind of like a stealth sequel in a way to Penny Larceny, another game of theirs that I really have to play. So I'd recommend trying it out. And, you know, if you have Penny Larceny in your library or if you're thinking about it, definitely, you know, give that a go until this game releases. So.
Okay, super quick. I have to jump in, Ekamy, and ask.
Yes.
There is I need context for the hamster that's like staring out of the cage, the bars of his cage, and he's got like the big like sad eyes, you know, like the watery, like that emoji, and he's like, God has forsaken me. What is happening?
So that's
I need to know. For anyone who wants to see this is on the Steam page. It's one of the screenshots on the list.
Oh my God, it's one of the jokes. It's very funny. It's one of those, so the for context of like the kind of comedy, it's a little bit dark comedy. So there's like, you know, a bit of a mix of like everybody's like, there's people who are depressed, but ratings. This poor little hamster is like in this cage and they're like, oh yeah, we have a hamster. Doesn't he look so happy? And it just does a slow zoom in on this hamster with like the saddest violin music. And he's like, God has forsaken me. And then it just cuts back to everybody and everybody's happy. And I'm like, oh no! Is the hamster okay? It was a bit. It was very funny.
My dog, when I don't walk her every 10 minutes.
God has forsaken me. But yes, it was very good. I highly recommend it.
All right, Lloydster, you're up.
Cool. So the first game I played was Killer Chat, and it's a satirical serial killer dating chat sim. Hilarious. I can't, like, to give you some context, you are an author, you're a writer, and you've gotten reviews that the serial killers you write are two-dimensional, one-dimensional. Like, they're lacking something. So you go on this world's version of Reddit, I forget the name off the top of my head, and you basically make a post saying, I only want real serial killers only. And it's so funny. And then a series of events happens on this platform, and you get invited to a dark web chat room. And it's the UI, the layout on this chat room is so believable. It's so realistic. It's so like early mid 2000s online chat room. And essentially it is a Discord server of hottie serial killers, and it is goofy in the best way possible. To be honest, I kind of wish I had I had like some trigger warnings, because there's just some stuff that goes into that. It's not like super fluffy, but it's very edgy. I wanted there to be more. I thought the demo like ended a little quick, but I just was probably just fiending. Otherwise, no, it was good. It was good. And I just had so much fun, like going between all the different channels, because it was truly like a Discord server or something similar, but with like a more pixelated design to it. And, you could do your introduction. You actually could type. There were some options that you had to pick from a list, but you could actually type your own introduction, and you could pick your own pronouns for the game. You could, none of the fashion was gender locked. It was all like body types instead of like A or B. It was like 4 different body types, and you could pick a bunch of different jewelry.
Everything I've always wanted out of my serial killer games is more queer representation, queer character creation options. That's all I've ever wanted.
I'm telling you.
I'm making fun of the game, but I like this. This sounds great, but I'm sorry.
It's so good. And I've got a history of like liking villains and liking bad people. So this is great. This is, when this comes out, I'm going to be watching it.
That sounds super fun. I'm going to wish list it. All these games I'm just like immediately wish list. It's going there. Yeah, that sounds really goofy and fun. I really like that. I haven't played too many games where like, where it's like chat focused, and you kind of make your game. The gameplay is through that, and then you can type in things. That's really neat. But all the games that I have played that have that utilize that UI really interestingly, like it always seems to be they do a really unique way about it, and I feel like from what you've just described, like this is just like I'm like another example of a great idea, like using this format. So that sounds super fun.
And you can react to give yourself roles in this. So like I had to be like, what kind of killer am I going to pretend to be? It's so good.
What kind of, if you were to be a serial killer, what would it be?
I was having some trouble because I was doing this.
Do you want to be Buffalo Bill or do you want to be the guy from Psycho?
Yeah, like
those are the 2 options. That's the
okay. For trans people.
I'm here for it.
It was funny because I was streaming this, so I'm like not playing this like in my own brain space. I'm doing it with people watching me, and I'm like, I have to like pretend I can be a normal person. Like,
I can't.
Some games are not meant to be streamed.
Or are they meant
streaming
to
that
be
not safe for work porn game I bought last week? I'm so sorry.
Love it.
All right, I'm gonna go next with my games. So I'm gonna actually talk about the second game I played first. I'm going to talk about Winterboro to bring it to something a little bit more wholesome. So Winterboro is a cozy game where basically you play as this tiny mouse in this forest. Think like, it's basically like Stardew, except it's in the winter and it has like a hand-drawn like 2D art style. But instead of farming, you're foraging, and it's described as a cozy game, but the first tag is cozy and the second tag is survival. And I don't think those tags go together. Yeah. But basically, you're this little mouse who lived in the big city with his parents, or actually, to be honest, I don't know the mouse's pronouns. Mouse's pronouns have not been stated. So I'll just say they lived in the city with their parents. They lived in the forest for like a little bit when they were very young, and the parents moved to the city, and the parents in the city, at some point, they die, because the city basically kills them. Like, not like in a bad way, but just like work grinds them down to the point where they just like, they die. Pretty young, it seems like. So you as the mouse go back to the forest to reconnect with your original like childhood home, and also find your auntie who still lives there. And so in the demo, you are basically returning to this rundown little stump, like hole in the tree. Or maybe it's a stump, I can't remember. And basically you're trying to like fix all the, like repair the bed, repair the stairs, repair the basement. And you have to gather resources around you, to do so. And you keep unlocking like recipes and basically crafting recipes. But because it's winter, every time you go out, you have like a timer on how long you can stay out there before you freeze to death, basically. And so Yeah, it's like Stardew, except, like, you know how in Stardew, like, you have energy throughout the day and you have to sleep by, like, 10 p.m. or you wake up really tired the next day, or is it midnight? This is like, if you don't get back to the fire in your tree within, like, I don't know, it's like less than a couple minutes, you will freeze to death.
Nice.
So it's cozy, but also very stressful, but I would say no more stressful than in Stardew when you're going into the mines.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Like, if it's scaring you off, like, don't worry. It's, like, very charming for the most part. And I didn't finish the demo. I didn't have time. But it is what I did. I played about 45 minutes of it, and it's very, very cozy, and I can see this being, like, the next Stardew Valley. And I'm not really sure where the queerness comes in, to be honest. I just know it has the tag. I think it has the tag. No, it may not have the tag, but it was definitely in the Sit Press Gay to Play showcase, so we know it is a queer game. And I do think the mouse's pronouns are probably they, them, because they haven't been stated. It's probably a gender neutral, like, we want you to apply yourself to the mouse's identity kind of a thing, which is cool. So.
Edgy, like, scary, like, high stakes stuff in a cute package is always kind of a really neat contrast, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember.
At first, I was like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I remember seeing the trailer in another showcase, I think, for this game, and I was like, "Oh, this looks so cute." I sometimes I'm a little bit hesitant to play. Like, I'm just not good at survival games, to be honest.
Same. That's why I was not going to play it at first, and then I saw the cozy tag, and I was like, "Oh, I'll try this then." Yeah,
so that's really neat. And I'm and I really like the art style. I thought it looked really nice. So I at some point will be hopefully playing the demo. But I'm glad that it was pretty impressive. So.
Also, I can't speak for any of the other games that we played, but I know that Winterbow for sure is coming to both Xbox Game Pass and Nintendo Switch 1.
Oh, nice.
So it's gonna be kind of multi-platform, which is nice.
Nice.
All right. Full transparency. We were talking about it in the chat. Some people on the video version might have noticed I was like looking away for a bit there. I don't really talk about this too much, but the podcast brand isn't necessarily like wholesome, but we do try to keep things like light and positive when possible. Obviously, sometimes we talk about darker things like, all the stuff with like the Steam censorship and the payment processors this summer. But because these are indie games and a lot of them are like small indie games made by like a handful of people, I don't want to disparage or bring down a game before it's even released. Because I want to give it like its chance. And so if we can't say anything nice about it, because I didn't play the game that Cleo played, but because we can't say anything nice about it, I'd rather not say anything at all.
There is, sorry, may I just jump in? Just for a quick moment. There is every chance it may be your game. It's just not my game. And I picked up on that very quickly as soon as I started playing it. And I agree. We should probably not talk about my opinions on it more.
If I had played some of the demo, I'd be like, okay, but here's why Cleo doesn't like it. Here's why I like it, for example, or here's the good stuff about it, even though we didn't really like it. But because only one of us played it and didn't have a positive experience, I'd rather just not crap on that game, even if it's not technically crapping. So anyway, I don't talk about this on the podcast very much, but I just wanted to like, for anyone who's watching or listening, want some context for like why I choose the news stories I do. And like, there was last year, like there was a Hogwarts Legacy news story that I really wanted to talk about, but I'm like, no, it's just gonna be me yelling about J.K. Rowling for 20 minutes. So I probably shouldn't do that. Right. So anyway, in that case, sorry, Cleo, that we can't talk about your second game, but I do appreciate you letting me know before we got into it. So we didn't name the game. But Amy, I'll let you go next with your second game.
Sure. So my second game is called Lap of the Gods. It is a visual novel style game that I will say I don't think it presented choices yet. There might be choices in the full game, but the demo I don't think showed any. But its setting is it's very hard to describe because I should preface, the demo is quite short.
How short is it?
Apparently, well, it was longer for me because I was running it on a terrible old laptop that was hanging on by a thread when I played it. So it took me a bit, but it took me 12 minutes. I've seen a gameplay that the dev has promoted that has like no commentary and everything, and that's about 7 minutes long. As such, there's not a whole lot I think I can get into it, but I can kind of give a basic, like a very general premise, I think. So you are mainly following this one character whose name is Marion, all the characters have this cool design about them. They look a little bit like they might be demons. They might be souls that haven't passed on. Like, there's a really interesting kind of paranormal, ethereal quality to them that I really can't describe, like, any more than that. So I just suggest, like, going to look up screenshots, because the art is gorgeous. Like, the character designs are really good. And as Marion, you are waking up. You awake, and people are saying, like, oh, like, do you remember who you are? Like, what's your name? And you say, your name's Marion. But whenever they try to look up a record for you, nothing comes up. So you kind of have this, like, amnesia, maybe, of, like, am I this character? And so Marion gets into a little bit of a scuffle in an attempt to, like, try to tell them that's me. And she ends up in, like, a county jail. I shouldn't actually say she, but it is a feminine body presenting character. Marion doesn't have a head, but has a very feminine looking body. So anyway, so they end up in a jail. And there Marion also meets this character who's got like a skull head, like a cow skull kind of. And their name is Scorial. I don't know anyone's pronouns. I don't think they got into them in the demo that much, or if at all. And Scorial is just chaos. Like, they just come in and they're like, hey, we're cellmates, like, good to see you. And Marion's like, what's going on? Like, what? And then they're like, you should come to my office. I'll get my buddy to bail us out. And then then Scorial calls their buddy their boy toy. And then the boy toy comes in, and they've got a very, like, they look kind of like a robot a little bit. So all the designs are, like, super varied, which is really cool. Anyway, boy toy, don't remember their name, sadly, breaks you out. They take you in a car to their office. It's like a mishmash building, laundromat kind of thing. And they're like, yeah, you're gonna, you know, we're gonna have a great time here. I think you're the person we've been looking for, Marion. And then you go into the building and the demo ends. And I sat back and I went, this was so funny. Like, it's a very funny demo. The comedy is really solid. And I was just like, after I finished it, I went, oh, that's a little short, like, shorter than I thought. But I was like, what am I going to talk about for this game? Like, how do I describe everything that I just witnessed? It's a little wild. It's very fun. I really liked it. I believe the game is coming out in early 2026, I think. And if you like visual novels and you like kind of, like, different, like, cool, funky kind of art styles, like, if anyone's ever played, there's a demo that made me think of it a bit called Pillory, and there's another game from that same dev. Anyway, similar art style to that, if you've played it. And yeah, I'd recommend it. It was fun. It was a little wild. I think the queerness might come into, like, mainly like a character like Scorial. I get the feeling that they're probably, like, maybe bi or something, but I don't know for sure. That's just kind of like a theory, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I would recommend, if you're down to just sit down and play a strange and beautiful looking visual novel.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was looking at the screenshots, and, like, all the characters look very distinct. Looks like there's one here with 3 heads as a skull, and they've got kind of like a... Wow. I don't want to assume this, but it looks with the flowers around the heads, and with the way the eyes have that, like, yellow line through them. It looks almost like a Dia de los Muertos.
Oh, neat.
If I'm saying that right. Like a Day of the Dead style kind of vibe. Yeah,
the art is really phenomenal. And the trailer, and actually, I should mention too, there's animations in the visual novel. Like, the characters should have, like, a loop that they run through, but it's very fluid. It's really nice. So I feel like there's going to be some really good, like, cinematics. There's also a nice cinematic in the trailer too. And I think the trailer's pretty new. I checked out their Instagram the other day, and they had, like, a neat, like, storyboard video where they're like, here's the pencil sketch, and then this is final animation and all that really cool stuff. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm going to be following them. I had fun. So
nice.
Lloyd, you look like you really want to talk about your next game.
I do. Because this one I saved it for last. It's traumatic. It's really good, but I do believe it has content warnings right at the bat.
Gotcha.
It is Messy Hearts, and it is a pixel art visual novel about a complicated coworker friendship. That's right from the Steam description. And I booted this up not realizing it was a linear narrative. I sometimes like to play demos, like I look at everything and go, oh yeah, those vibes. Yeah, okay. Boot it up. And so it wasn't until I was like 5 or 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, we're not choosing anything. But I'm okay with that. I feel like this would affect me on a whole nother level if I was directly involved in these choices. And my brain's escaping me, but your main character, they use they, them pronouns, and they are married. They have a son, a 5-year-old son. And all of the characters have profiles that you can kind of see what, like, they're kind of like spark notes, kind of like their interests or like what they struggle with. And it kind of gives you an idea. There's a varied amount of mental illness, very transparent mental illness that different characters have. And that kind of really helps kind of, none of those are monoliths, but it kind of helps give you a brief little look into where some of their decision making might be coming from. And essentially you're just following this main character through basically you see the end of the story, and then after you see the end of the story you see how you got there. And I'm trying to think of, like, it's kind of difficult not to like give the whole thing away, but I guess there's no big twist. It's right up at the bat. You have this beautiful scene in the beginning. It's pixel art, so that somehow adds a whole level to it of like nostalgia, but also a deep sadness because of like the color palette that's being used. So this main character, they're at the beach with their 5-year-old son, and the son's running around trying to have a good time, but the parent, they have locked eyes with a seal. Mentioned that for 30 minutes they watched this seal and they just are sobbing, and I'm like, okay, all right. And it then gets revealed that there's ethical non-monogamy involved, which the representation of it I think is beautiful because it is a messy relationship, but
with the seal.
No, unfortunately.
Sorry.
Whoa.
I'm going to disappoint you, Zoe, but yeah, no.
I'm just trying to get some context here.
Yeah, no, oh goodness, I could like gush about this game for a very long time, so I'm trying to like lock in. Basically, it's a coworker. A coworker is the new relationship that clearly doesn't work out well, and it's this idea of people being an adult, how difficult it is to meet new people, have new, even just interpersonal relationships, doesn't have to be romantic, and the complexities that go into years of trauma with previous relationships or previous things that haven't worked out, and your own self-doubt mixed in with some compulsions you might have depending on what disorders you might have. And just, it's so realistic in a not stereotypical way. Like OCD is represented in a really wonderful way, and not like the Hollywood everything needs to be clean. Like obviously some people have that experience, but OCD in this context is more about like the repetitive compulsive thoughts. And I personally know people with OCD, and to see it represented like this in such an authentic and raw way, I'm like, wow. Wow, I'm gonna get this game when it comes out. Like it's really beautiful.
That's really nice
amazing.
to hear.
Sorry, I'm gonna read. Lloyd described it very beautifully, but it came from a place of like, trying to keep it too brief, and I think that might have actually been to the detriment, because I was like, hey, you guys each get 5 minutes for these games. So I'm just going to read the Steam summary. Messy Hearts is a pixel art visual novel about a complicated coworker friendship. Through journal-style narration, Florence unpacks romance, trauma, and some messy boundaries in a deeply personal story of mental health and heartbreak. No choices. This is a linear narrative. And also, I just want to note, too, that when I was looking through the screenshots here on Steam, the art style is all pixel art, but it seems to vary between which era of pixel art it's taking inspiration from, which I think is really cool. Some of it looks like late 70s Atari. Other stuff looks like modern, like, here's what we would do with pixel art now if we were still making, like, Super Nintendo games. Anyway, sorry. If anyone wants to jump in and say something, I didn't mean to overrun it. I just was like, maybe this would apply to listeners too, but I couldn't get a sense of exactly what was going on other than like sorry, and I don't mean to like disparage you, Lloyd. I think your description is beautiful and it intrigued me. I'm so sorry. No, I just wanted to like
give some context. I get
it. Lloyd is not getting invited back.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I liked it was really nice to hear about the like, especially like the OCD representation. I feel like I don't see a whole lot of that in a lot of the games that I've played. And that kind of like what sounds to be a very emotional story, and utilizing pixel art to its benefit and to like kind of capture a real interesting experience. It reminds me a little bit of like I wonder if I would feel similar playing it as I would to when I played To the Moon, if anyone's played that game, because that is also a very emotional story. All the Freebird games are for that story, but and they use pixel art in really interesting ways. So I'm going to wish list this right now.
All right, I'm going to talk about the last game here, and that game is one I've already talked about in the podcast because I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago we found out that this game was going back into development, and as it's part of Steam Next Fest now. I think it's the old demo, but the game I'm talking about is Dead Pets Unleashed, a title I do not like. I do not like that they call themselves, so it's the name of a band actually. So in this game, it's a visual novel / rhythm game, point and click as well. And so you're playing this character whose name is escaping me right now, but the main character is part of this band called Dead Pets. And I'm not a fan of the name. They kind of address it in the demo, but not really. But aside from that, the game is brilliant. Like, the game is really good. It's got some, like, Scott Pilgriminess to it, if you're kind of into that. It did remind me a little bit of Unbeatable, although I found the rhythm style gameplay a little bit easier. But basically, and actually, Lloyd, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to read the, like, Steam summary, because it's a little bit easier to kind of gather my thoughts this way. Gordy and her punk band, Dead Pets, haven't hit it big, but they will any day now. Go to band practice, crush a diner shift, chat with friends, and manage Gordy's mess of a life. Unleash your inner demon in a feminist, slice-of-life, management-light, minigame-heavy, narrative rhythm game. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this game, as the description implies. And so when I first heard about this game, that another studio had bought it, it was originally developed by Triple Topping, and now Akupara Games is picking up that, basically picking up the bill, so to speak. And when I was looking at this, the thing that intrigued me wasn't that it was a rhythm game, but that there was tons of mini games in it. And the one that intrigued me the most was that there is a pinball mini game, but the pinball, it takes place inside a uterus, and you are playing pinball with the ovaries and the egg. And I was like, that is cool. That is weird. First off, I like pinball, but also feminist pinball. And so I played the demo in the hopes that mini game would be in the demo. It was sadly not, but there were a lot of other fun mini games. There were a bunch. The diner one is stressful because this game doesn't have controller support, so you're basically stuck with mouse and keyboard, which I cannot stand playing as. It's just not for me. But basically you have to like wait tables and like clean tables and bring food back and forth, and like you're also hosting, so you have to bring people to and from their table, and you've got like, you know, every time someone says like, "Oh, I know what I want to order," you hear like a snap of the fingers, and you're like, "Oh, it feels a little bit rude, but also a bit stressful." You're like, "Oh, okay." And then if I could never get higher than a 3 out of 5 rating on each of the times I played this, and then my boss at the end was always like, "You're kind of bad at your job," and I was like, "I know." But the real vibe of this game is that like there's like a social element to it. And so every time you make a choice in the game, you're basically like, you're given two choices. You're like, you can do this, which will give you social credit, or you can do this, which will make you a good person, basically. And so, like, do you want to pay your rent, or do you want to ask for more time to pay your rent? And, like, not paying your rent will get you good, like, add skill points to your band, but not paying, like, it'll, like, obviously make your landlord hate you.
Yeah.
But then paying your rent will make your landlord love you, but it'll make you less cool with the band. It'll make you less punk. And every day that those stats kind of reset, so you kind of get a chance to kind of start over each time. And the game is broken into chapters. Each chapter takes place over a few days, and the demo does end on a like pretty intense content warning for a sexual assault scene, which is implied but very heavily implied. So the game is very light and funny up until that point, and I'm not sure, because the demo ends when it gets kind of darker, you do wonder like, where is the game going to go with this? But I did like the music. The punk music is very great. A lot of songs repeat, and I'm not sure if that's because the game isn't finished. I'm not sure if that's intentional, and I'm not sure if that's just because the band is a young band that's relatively new and they don't have a lot of songs, because at one point in the demo, your character is like prompted to write a new song, and then you play that song later. So I'm not sure if it's just like a limited thing. There's a lot of other stuff in this demo. There's some elements that are like bordering on not safe for work. There's one mini game that this isn't not safe for work, but basically your band is playing a show, and the singer gets her period in the middle of the show, and she's like, F, I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
And then so the crowd starts throwing tampons on stage, and you have to catch 5 of them to stop the bleeding as part of the mini game. It's really weird.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's basically the elevator pitch for this game. I think you should go check it out if you can get past the whole concept. There's no actual dead pets in the game. That's just the name of the band. They make a joke about the fact that the name is kind of grotesque, but it's mostly an offhand joke at the beginning to kind of address it. I don't think this game needs to be called Dead Pets Unleashed. I think they can find another shocking name that doesn't invoke the idea of dead pets. Like, I would literally prefer Dead Humans Unleashed over Dead Pets Unleashed, because I think people can stomach dead people more than they can stomach dead animals. This is something I've noticed in media. Like, there isn't a website called Does the Human Die, but there is a website called Does the Dog Die, right?
Yeah.
So, the dog does not die in this game, but the name does invoke. Anyway, I don't like the name at all. Like, it doesn't invoke feminism. It doesn't invoke anything edgy or punk. It just invokes the idea of dead animals, which I don't. But aside from that, though, this demo was awesome. The only thing that I was actually sad about playing the demo was that the uterus pinball minigame was not in there.
They're trying to, like, perfect it so it's going to be the best minigame in the whole game. They need to take the time.
Yeah, more incentive to play the game.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, go.
No, I was just saying that's incentive for when the game comes out. Hiding the best of it. I
really liked that. The tampon scene. That's so good. I love that. It's so, I'm gonna wish for the 50th time. I'm gonna wish list this game. I'm gonna say that on the podcast.
Amy's wallet is just like I'm making the motion of like throwing cash on stage.
Yeah, there goes my money.
Yeah.
At the front row of the show, just throwing the credit card on stage, like, take this one. I need it. Change your name. I need it. I need it. It sounds like a fun game.
I do think this is a game that I think Cleo would like, because Cleo, you said you kickstarted Unbeatable, and this game is not exactly the same, and I think Unbeatable has more, and this isn't to insult Dead Pets Unleashed, but I think there's more depth to the rhythm mini games, or the rhythm element of Unbeatable. However, this game is also in development, so I don't know how deep it's going to go. I did play on easy, medium, and hard difficulties, and it prompts you every time there's a song. It's like, which difficulty do you want? And I love that. I love that every time it asks you. It'd be cool if there was a setting that like turned that off if you like, I know I want to play medium every time. But I didn't find the hard to be too hard, and I was both happy about that because I could do it, but also I know I'm bad at rhythm games, so that should have been a lot harder.
I think I'm probably going to give this one a shot. It sounds interesting. The picture you've painted makes me just more and more interested. The minigames sound fun. I definitely want to see what the rhythm part of it is. If it's like, is it just like the live music? Is there more to it? Like, you said there's not a lot of songs. Is that just the actual band playing the music, or is it like kind of the other tracks? I'm interested to
No, it's the band playing.
Okay.
there's a lot of moments. There's at least 2 or 3 times per chapter where you play the rhythm game. It's just a lot of the times the same one song is repeated. Mm-hmm. So
okay, I'm still probably going to give it a go. See how it feels.
Oh. And they do change up every time. Like, there's usually a story element leading into the reason the song is being played. And then when you're playing the songs, you're using a guitar to bash, like, an object or something that's coming at you. So, you go on a date with this one guy. There's, like, a Tinder minigame, where you're, like, swiping right and left on dates. And then you go on the date, and then you find out later that she didn't like the guy. And so, you find out that she sent a box of bees to the guy's door.
I love it.
And so after the confrontation with the guy, he's like, "You send bees to my door. Does this mean do you not like me? Is that what that means?" And then, so after that, you're like, you have to swipe at the bees as they fly at you as part of the rhythm game.
That's so good.
All right, I'm into it. I'm wishlisting it.
Join me.
My credit card's already crying enough. Let's make it cry more.
I also wanted to ask, is there any, queer content, or is it like queer devs? I was curious.
Gordy is pansexual. Not player sexual. Like, Gordy is straight up pansexual.
Nice.
When you're swiping right or left, you can swipe right on men and women.
Nice.
It's just like real life, because the men are more likely to say yeah to swipe right on you as well, and the women are not. So it's great. Art imitating life.
Do the men open with really bad, like, questions?
I think he opened with a bad, like, not punchline, but like pickup line. Pickup line is the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
Okay.
Do the men?
Oh no, I think he actually opened. I think he what do you call it when you like give a lot of compliments? It's love bombing.
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he love bombed actually. I think he love bombed. He was like, "Oh my," and he spoke like he was medieval. He was like, "Oh my dearest love,
oh my god,
I want to serenade you with my adoration."
So does imitate life then? Okay.
Any of the guys have just pictures of either them shirtless after a workout, them near a car, or them just holding up the fish they caught?
No, but all the characters in this game are like some variety of like creature. So like some guys are literally just a mouth, like a round mouth, like the Dune worm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Or maybe not the Dune worm, but the Star Wars worm. It's just like just a big mouth.
Yeah.
The Sarlacc?
No eyes. And I'm like, am I attracted to this person? No, but maybe Gordy is? Like, I don't know what Gordy's into. So
that's cool that Gordy's pansexual as well. We've talked a lot about player sexuality, but like, I mean, having an actually just like pansexual character is really cool.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on any of the games before we wrap up?
My wallet's empty now after all these games I'm wishlisting, so...
Thankfully, it doesn't cost any money to wishlist, and just in case anyone's listening to this and never used Steam before, they're like, oh, it costs... No, you don't... Wishlisting is not pre-ordering. We're just talking about the fact that because these are on our wishlist now, our wallets will be empty when these games come out.
And their demos are available. You can go play them. So
until Monday. So this podcast is going live the day after we record.
It's
and
the very
Monday at
last
1
day,
p.m.
right?
Eastern time, they do come down. But that's why we get this episode out before the weekend, so you can play these demos on the weekend. Most of them don't take that long. The Dead Pets one was about 2 hours, but obviously Lap of the Gods is 7 minutes. So your mileage may vary.
It balances out in the end of it. Looking at... Sorry, I wanted to comment about Laugh Track. Laugh Track is apparently going to be free?
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes, so I'm so sorry. Yeah, Laugh Track will be free. The dev has their last game was also free, and that's thanks to supporters of the games that they've made. So they're just like, as a thank you, they're just making it free. You can there will be an option to donate if you want, but yes, it will be totally free.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I love Fiction Factory games. They're so cool.
All right, just to summarize, these are the games we discussed, and these will also be down in the show notes, but first we spoke about Steel Century Groove, Cleo spoke about that one, and then Ekamy talked about Laugh Track, and then Lloyd talked about Killer Chat, I then talked about Winterborough, and then we went back around the horn, Ekamy talked about Lap of the Gods, Lloyd spoke about Messy Hearts, and then we finished off with Dead Pets Unleashed, and that's what I spoke about. All right, super quick. Cleo, where can people find you?
Cleostrophobia on Instagram.
Ekamy, where can people find you?
Ekamy on Twitch, Blue Sky, and Instagram.
Lloyd Lloydster, where can people find you?
Lloyd_Lloydster on TikTok and Twitch, and Lloyd.Lloydster on Blue Sky.
Amazing. And of course, you can follow True Avatars on social media, and I will put that usual closure, like outro thing I always do. But anyway, thank you all for joining me. I'm sorry I had to kind of rush you through a few of these, but just to keep it brief because it is a bonus episode. But thank you all for joining me. This is amazing, and I'm glad you all enjoyed the demos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that just about wraps up this week's show. Thanks, True Avatars, for joining me for another episode of your Queer Video Game Podcast. By listening to the show, you are supporting queer-made content, which is more important than ever. If you want to support True Avatars, it would be really great if you could leave a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube under the handle @TrueAvatars, all one word, and on Facebook and Instagram under True Avatars. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so you can be the first to know when new content drops. I welcome you to check out the official website, trueavatarspodcast.com. That's all one word, trueavatarspodcast.com. On the website, you can sign up for the newsletter, where you can get exclusive news and updates on the show. Bye, True Avatars. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you all again next week. Take care and stay safe.